Today I'm painting freight cars. I bought some decals and I want to paint these freight cars. These are Bachmann and I really like them, except I got a pile of them. I got a pile of the Rio Grande and I've got a pile of the Lehigh Valley. And these are actually my favorite freight cars. I really like these wheels. They're really free rolling. And they sound great. They go down the track really good. So I wash them before I'm gonna paint them. So I start by removing all the dust because they've been around. And then I remove the undercarriage. I'll set that aside. You could remove the walk boards and the brake wheel, but I prefer to have them the same color. These are going to be painted Pennsylvania. I got a nice brown, which is about the same shade as the Tuscan red. So I selected 11 of them to do. So I'm going to set up, I'm going to make a jig so I can paint them all at once. So after I disassemble that, then I'll get to work on making my jig. So all I did was cut up some cardboard strips, and then I measure out my freight car, and I bend them down like this, and I just slip that inside. This will allow me to stand them up so I can paint them. Then I just take a piece of Scotch tape so I can tape them down here. And that will allow me to move them around as I paint. I can move them around and not worry about them falling off. So that's great. So back from the paint shop, it looks pretty shiny. You can still read, for example, here Lehigh Valley. But once I put my decals on and I put the dull coat, it won't be as objectionable. So right now I'm going to start putting on my decals. I like to use a micro scale. I find they're very sharp stuff, and they come with instructions. I am going to use these for decal placement. Very nice to have. You have to cut your decals out and make them close to the size you want. I'll start with the bigger decals first. A couple drops of water is all you need. And then I'll just slide the decals from the paper to the car. The excess water is not necessarily bad. It's going to allow me to move it around till I got it exactly where I want it, and I'll use the instructions for exact placement. And then once I have it exactly where I want it, I'll just use a tissue to blot out the excess water. You could also use a paintbrush. Now it's really starting to shape up. Well, with the dull coat, it looks much more professional. It took me a while to put on these little decals in. It took me 3 days actually. I did 11 of these. Now all I have to do is put the undercarriage back on. And this is not as detailed, of course, as an Intermountain car, but it will still be fun. Look good going down the track. And now it's time to run some trains. Well, that was a little bit of a long project to do, but now I'm really happy. See you soon.